One more thing about the media equation before we leave it, which isn't on the notes, but which I offer as sort of an add-on here. Remember, the basic concept is of the media equation is that that media equals, for folks, real life. And so this sort of introduces also the last couple of topics in the class and kind of gets me over between, again, ontology and epistemology. And that's this proposal. I'll read this abstract to you. There's another one that goes with it and sort of then give you a sense of it. This paper argues that at least one of the following propositions is true. One, the human species is very likely to go extinct before reaching a post-human stage. That might be true. Two, any post-human civilization is extremely unlikely to run a significant number of simulations of their evolutionary history or variation thereof. Three, we are almost certainly living in a computer simulation. One of these is true. It follows that the belief that there's a significant chance that we will one day become post-humans who run ancestor simulations is false, unless we're currently living in a simulation. A number of other consequences of this result are also discussed. Let me give you one other piece on this before we talk about it. A future society will very likely have the technological ability and the motivation to create large numbers of realistic historical simulations, be able to overcome any ethical and legal obstacles to doing so. Some of us spend time in Second Life, and it's not simulation yet, but it's getting there. It is thus highly probable that we are a form of artificial intelligence inhabiting one of these simulations. To avoid stacking simulations, in other words, having people who are self-conscious that they're running simulations on themselves, the termination of these simulations is likely to be the point in history when the technology to create them first became widely available, roughly 2050, or as it was otherwise known, Armageddon, the end of the world, the last end of time. Also called the, never mind. Long-range planning beyond this date would therefore be futile. As we go to the next section about epistemology, we're going to reflect back on ontology, who we are and how we are. There was this notion before new media that we were not at all like machines. There was this notion before new media that really there's us and there's the machines that we make. One of the things that new media has kind of implicated is the cyborg and the way that information is based. Right? So I'm walking around, standing here. This isn't overly dramatic, it's just I'm making it happen. With a device right here that if I fainted, which I've done all my life, the sight of blood, don't get a nosebleed completely. And my heartbeat goes below 35, the monitor senses it, makes the connection between the two chambers, and hopefully I don't flatline for more than 9 or 10 seconds. I am a cyborg. Now, your dad might be one that the damn thing doesn't beat every 60 times a minute. He's down. Mine isn't that way. But we have all sorts of implants and accoutrements that are not natural, physical, attached to us in various kinds of ways now. but we can do all sorts of surgeries and changes. We're cloning some things, and we're developing procedures for other things. And we've looked at DNA, and we know it's programmed. Period. In fact, we know we can reprogram it. Actually, for some things, you take this, you move it there, and you got red eyes. Blue eyes, green eyes, whatever it is you want. Okay? Are we in somebody's computer simulation? Well, that's sort of unlikely. It was a great movie, but it's sort of unlikely. But there's a lot we don't know. When we get to quantum physics, and we're starting to do quantum calculation with quantum computers, and when you get into the quantum physics literature, all of a sudden you realize pretty quickly that things may just not be exactly as we thought they were, just because we thought we knew how things were. And one of the things that new media takes you to is, that's interesting. So that's where we're going next, is what we know about us. And who we are and how we know about it. Okay?